This week on Healthy Living, living free of animal products, we take a look at veganism. Nigerian vegan chef and blogger Tomi Makanjuola tells us more about the benefits of veganism. And how bad is sugar for your teeth? The answer coming up. Plus, a video game in Kenya encourages young men to fight gender-based violence. These stories and more in this edition of Healthy Living. Hello, I'm Lina Khmudu. Thank you for joining us on Healthy Living. Most people enjoy steak, chicken, and fish on their dinner plate. But have you heard of veganism? It is the practice of abstaining from the use of animal products, particularly in diet. People who follow the diet or philosophy are known as vegans. Observers say the vegan lifestyle can eliminate bad cholesterol from a person's diet by 100% and can reduce the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by 23%. Veganism is a popular global movement that continues to expand worldwide, including among African communities. It is estimated that about 8% of people in the world are vegans. Observers say veganism may be more challenging for some Africans due to high consumption of meat and fish in some African traditional food. But not everyone agrees. An increasing number of people in Nairobi, Kenya, are adopting a plant-based diet. The vegan movement is gaining traction in the region, largely due to health concerns, animal welfare, and the environment. VOA Swahili reporter Huba Abdi visited Soul Vegetarian, a vegan restaurant in Nairobi, and Grace Onyeyubi narrates.
Joyce Njoroge is a regular customer at Soul Vegetarian restaurant in Nairobi. She is among the few Kenyans who practice veganism.
Before I became a vegan, I was getting many diseases and I didn't understand what exactly was making me sick. One day, I started thinking that maybe the food I was eating was a problem. Then I met someone who introduced me to veganism, and I started understanding that there are foods that help your body resist some diseases.
Daniela Ram moved to Kenya from United States in 2015. She started Soul Vegetarian, a vegan restaurant.
I wanted to see how veganism would work here in Kenya. I wanted to share what I knew and understood of veganism and how good it was here in Kenya. And also, I wanted to have somewhere to eat.
Kenyans, like many other Africans, love their steaks and ribs, lamb, beef or chicken slapped over the coals of the Nyama Choma grill are often on the menu.
Well, one thing about Kenya, as we spoke about, is the Nyama Choma country. The response have been good. It has been slow, but it has been good. When I first came here in 2015 to now 2021, the growth of veganism and just the whole health aspect of eating has grown tremendously. So I'd have to say the response has been good because in 5 years, veganism is now more popular than it was before, and that growth has been exponential.
Plant-based eating is increasingly recommended by scientists and nutritionists as a healthy diet that, if followed on a regular basis, can reduce the risk of some diseases. But some say it's not easy to give up things like milk and beef.
What people don't know is there are other things you can consume that make you feel like you don't miss those things. For example, we have milk made from soybeans. You can find it easily in many shops. You can use it in your tea or drink it as just milk.
The Vegan Society of Kenya defines vegan as not eating or using animal products. Veganism is not just a diet, but a way of living.
there are spiritual benefits because you are not involving yourself in cruelty. And then there are health benefits. Like I said, you are getting the whole nutrition from the plant without, animal products have a lot of cholesterol, antibiotics, and diseases. So as a vegan, you eliminate that and you get better health.
Some studies show that a plant-based diet offers some healthy benefits. For example, it can help reduce hypertension. And a study conducted by the United Nations concluded that livestock causes an estimated 14.5% of man-made greenhouse gases globally. So your body isn't the only thing that will benefit from a vegan lifestyle. It's also good for the planet.
Tomi Makanjuola is a Nigerian-British vegan chef, blogger, and founder of the Vegan Nigerian. She tells us more about life as a vegan consumer and advocate.
A vegan is someone who avoids using animals, whether it be in their food, in their clothing, in the products that they buy. None of it contains any animal products. Some people see veganism as the more intense version of vegetarianism because vegetarians, they still consume some animal products such as dairy. It is challenging to speak about veganism in a Nigerian environment, only because the way our culture has evolved, it's gotten to the point now where the consumption of meat is seen as a sign of affluence. When I've sort of looked into the history of the way we've eaten, meat and animal products wasn't always the central part of our diet. Our diet has always been very rich in plant foods. It's not such a far stretch. You can still enjoy much of your cultural foods with just a few modifications. People who follow a vegan diet are less likely to actually contract a lot of these dietary-related illnesses that we see today. High blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease. If we take it from the benefit to the wider world and the planet, we see that consuming less meat has a positive effect on climate. A lot of people don't realize that animal agriculture is one of the leading causes of climate change. And if we can all just make slight modifications in the way we eat, we can actually begin to tackle that. You would be very hard pressed to actually find a vegan who has a protein deficiency. Most people, when they think of protein, they think they have to get it from animal sources. Protein can be found in a vast array of food sources. For vegans, we get our protein primarily from legumes. So things like beans, lentils have high amounts of protein, nuts and seeds. One thing I will say to people who are considering veganism is that they need to ensure that they are getting all the nutrients and vitamins they need, in particular vitamin B12, because it actually helps with the regulation of the nervous system. If you take a very good multivitamin or a good supplement of vitamin B12, it can meet all your needs. One of the things about consuming a plant-based diet is that it's a lot easier on the digestive system. All the energy that goes into digesting meat and dairy and animal products, a lot of that energy gets redirected into other parts of the body to allow you to operate optimally.
Many questions remain about COVID-19 variant Omicron, including the efficacy of current COVID vaccines and the possible need for an Omicron-specific vaccine. At least 5 million people have had their lives cut short by the novel coronavirus. Experts say the best defense against this virus is a vaccine, and since the outbreak of the pandemic, scientists have focused on developing them. VOA's Carol Pearson explains some of the different approaches to making effective vaccines.
3 COVID-19 vaccines use weakened adenoviruses, which are viruses that cause colds. The Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine uses a chimpanzee adenovirus that has been weakened so it can't make people sick. Sputnik V and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine use weakened human adenoviruses. Scientists removed the gene from the coronavirus's spike protein and put it into the adenoviruses. They also removed the gene in the adenovirus that can cause illness. Think of the adenovirus as an envelope with a message inside. The message tells the cells to make the spike protein. The body makes antibodies to defend itself. If it sees the spike protein again, the body is prepared to attack.
You don't just mount an immune response to the adenovirus, but you also mount the immune response to the protein that it encodes, that spike protein that is part of the virus causing COVID.
Both Johnson & Johnson and Sputnik V's first doses are made with a rare human adenovirus, AD25. Johnson & Johnson used to be considered a one-dose vaccine, but in October, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Advisory Board recommended that a booster be used to increase its effectiveness. The second dose of Sputnik V contains AD5, an adenovirus people are frequently exposed to. Scientists are concerned that Sputnik V doesn't offer enough protection against COVID-19. There are other ways to make vaccines. The latest method involves messenger RNA vaccines, or mRNA vaccines, which are produced by Moderna and Pfizer-BioNTech.
They use techniques to trick the immune system into thinking it's seeing a pathogen without actually providing most of or all of the pathogen.
Cox says it's not surprising that researchers could develop mRNA vaccines against COVID-19 so quickly.
Because they had been testing vaccines using this strategy against other pathogens.
There's an advantage of having so many vaccines against COVID-19. The whole world needs to be vaccinated. Another advantage is that scientists might be able to figure out which vaccines work best for different people.
Did you know that consuming sugar affects your teeth? Experts say when you consume sugary food made with free sugar, you are feeding bad bacteria that produces acid. The acid slowly dissolves your enamel, the hard tissue of the teeth, which causes holes and dental cavities or dental caries. Free sugar is the sugar added to food or drink, as well as the sugar found in syrup, fruit juice, and honey. They are not inside the cell of the food and can be detrimental to our dental and general health. On the other hand, sugars found in fruits, vegetables, and milk can provide additional nutrients such as fiber. The World Health Organization says dental cavities are expensive to treat and the main reasons for hospitalization of children in some high-income countries. WHO says reducing the consumption of free sugar to less than 5% ideally can reduce the incidence of tooth cavities over time. And brushing regularly, at least twice a day, will help. Now, every year from November 25th to December 10th, the world commemorates the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence for the elimination of violence against women. A Kenyan video game company has launched a football game that encourages young men to be active during the pandemic and help stop gender-based violence. Surveys show about 40% of Kenyan women will face gender-based violence. Lenny Ruvaga reports from Nairobi.
Futa, Swahili slang for football, takes gamers from the metaverse into the real world, where they earn points by exercising and learning about gender-based violence.
When you're playing the game, even the men can learn how to handle the women. They can learn how to go through challenges that affect us as girls and as women.
Players score points by wearing Google Feet to monitor their exercise and answering questions on issues related to gender-based violence.
So we're trying to combine the fact that the youth love football and love games, and taking those two and putting them together to try and teach some social values.
Rights group Equality Now says about 40% of women in Kenya in their lifetimes will face sexual and gender-based violence.
We need to create champions of SGBV. And that is from both genders, both men and women. We also need to create opportunities for people, because poverty is really one of the escalators of SGBV. So let's create opportunities. The other thing is also creating awareness.
Gamer Odhiambo hopes Futa will educate Kenyan youth on gender-based violence and keep both their minds and bodies healthy.
For the latest news and coverage on the coronavirus, stay connected to Voice of America at voanews.com. You can follow me on Twitter at Linormudu. That's our show for today. Until next time, stay well and strive to make every day a healthy day.